Since you guys really enjoy my Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared theories, I thought it could be cool to kind of turn this into a little series. So I thought, every so often, I'll make a theory based on a popular video that probably doesn't make any sense, and try my best to find some meaning into it. And I thought what better way to start it than to travel into the mind of a being who goes by the name of David Firth, who made a very popular and extraordinary series called Salad Fingers. Salad Fingers is a weird, disfigured creature who seems to live in a post-apocalyptic world and apparently has a rust fetish. And his only friends are his puppets. Well, finger puppets. So this series has been open for interpretation and loads of people have put their own thoughts on this. So I thought I might as well add my own to it as well. Except I'm going to try and do something a little bit different. I'm going to try and create the Salad Fingers timeline. From when he was born to how he ended up in this post-apocalyptic world. Bear in mind some of this might be speculation, but I'll try my best to explain why I came to this conclusion. So before I go on to the timeline and the whole story of it, I recommend you check out the Salad Fingers series first, otherwise you probably won't have a clue what I'm talking about. But then again, it's Salad Fingers and I'm trying to explain it, so probably still won't make sense. But I'll give it a go. Okay, done that? Yeah? Awesome. Right, let me explain who Salad Fingers is. I have reason to believe that Salad Fingers is a human being. But a war broke out, destroying life as we know it, and now only very few humans, such as Salad Fingers, wander the world trying to survive. All of them have been affected by the war, which is why they're horribly disfigured, and the majority of them seem to have damaged their voice and can no longer speak. Salad Fingers is one of very few that can still manage to speak some English. And there are others out there that do, but very, very few. And Salad Fingers assumes everyone can't speak, so he usually speaks for them if he finds them.
How does your Loganberry crumble taste? It's simply delicious, replied Mabel.
It's actually one of the reasons he's shocked when he hears the girl speak in one of the episodes.
I think he likes spoons too.
He hasn't heard a voice in a very long time. But if this is true, and it was due to a war that broke out that destroyed the world, what war could this possibly be? Is it a new war that David Firth made up himself? Or is it a war that already existed? Well, he keeps calling this war the Great War. And there was actually one war that happened in history that people referred to as the Great War. World War I. People said it was the war to end all wars. Which was kind of ironic, as literally a couple of years later, there was a war just as big as that one. But what if this was taken seriously? The war to end all wars. What if it did? What if it did end all wars? And by doing so, it pretty much wiped out the entire human race. What if this is an alternative universe and shows the world destroyed by World War I? Obviously we have the Great War mentioned. Also, listen to how Salad Fingers speaks. The words he uses and the way he uses them does resemble that time period a lot.
Oh, what's this rather queer-looking contraption? It was frightfully rude of you blokes to leave for the Great War without me.
Not only that, the names he calls his puppets. Hubert, Marjorie, and Jeremy. Not really names that you would call your kids around this time period we're in now. Well, okay, people still do, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying these names aren't as common as they used to be. So, anyway, on to Salad Fingers himself. I believe he's recreating his memories in this series, as he seems to roleplay a lot in these videos. Not every episode, but most of them. And I think we have enough to figure out what happened in his life before the Great War broke out. So, Salad Fingers had a family. Salad Fingers was the oldest brother of 3, Kenneth being his younger brother, as it's said in the 7th episode when he returns from the war.
My very own little Kenneth, back on shore leave to see his older brother.
And we have the youngest sister, Marjorie. We'll get to her later. And growing up, he had his best friend, Jeremy Fisher. Once they all got to a certain age, Kenneth and Jeremy were sent off to fight the Great War. But Salad Fingers, I have reason to believe, he didn't go. Possibly a medical condition? It's unclear.
It was frightfully rude of you blokes to leave for the Great War without me.
To be fair, if his personality was even a tenth of what it's like in the series, then I could probably understand why. And to be honest, it probably wasn't far off. Yeah, this is a warning. This is the part where it starts to get a little bit messed up. So, brace yourselves. So, during the Great War, I think he slept with his sister. Noticed his love interest is the puppet Marjorie Stewart Baxter. And during one scene, he talks to a caterpillar thing, calling it his little sister, and goes on to give the creature sexual remarks. I think he fooled around with his sister and got her pregnant. Not knowing what to do, he blames it on Jeremy Fisher, who came back from the Great War. There are two scenes in episode 6 that make no sense when on their own, but when you place them together, you get this.
Jeremy Fisher, I thought you were out fighting the Great War. I'd like a word with you. Pardon? I'm not one for accusations, but this one's cast iron. I don't understand. What is this? I've seen you tailgating my daughter with aspirations of deflowering her rose. No, this isn't true. You've got the wrong bloke, Squire. I don't make mistakes, comrade. This one's textbook. Wash those bad thoughts away.
Showing the father eating Jeremy Fisher at the end possibly hints that Salad Fingers' father kills Jeremy out of anger. I know that is a bit extreme, but if this family is as messed up as I think it is, it doesn't sound as crazy. I know he isn't reenacting these memories in order, but I thought it was interesting how Jeremy Fisher is never mentioned after this episode. Even in episode 2, when for some reason he's tasting the puppets and telling them what they taste like, he never tastes Jeremy, probably feeling the guilt of what he let his father do to his best friend. As time goes on, I would assume the father would probably want to get rid of the baby before it is born, and I think Salad Fingers refused and asked Mary to run away with him and have the baby and keep it safe. As in episode 9, Salad Fingers does give birth, and it does appear to be his and Marjorie's, as at one point he says,
I think we've been given a duff one, Marjorie.
I think if they were still under the same roof as the father, he wouldn't have let her go through birth if he was this angry about it. I think he would have tried to get it aborted. And if they were to run away and hide, I would assume they'd change their names too. Meaning that I think Salad Fingers had changed his name to Hubert Cumberdale and decided to work as a butcher. The reason I came to this conclusion is that Hubert C spells butcher when you jumble it around. I know this is a bit of a stretch, but in episode 2, Salad Fingers has a dream state where he sees Hubert Cumberdale in a place that does look like a butchery. My guess is that's how he came up with the name. He wanted to become a butcher and probably muddled up the letters and then put them back together. And you're probably asking, if this was true, then wouldn't Marjorie have changed her name? Well, that's the thing. How do we know she hasn't? Let me put it this way, if Salad Fingers had changed his name, that means we've never heard his actual name before. We've only heard Hubert Cumberdale. So what's to say Salad Fingers' sister, Marjorie, isn't actually her name? If Salad Fingers only goes by the name that he chose himself as Hubert Cumberdale, who's to say he isn't doing the same for Marjorie? I think this was a name that she made up herself, since Salad Fingers also chose his name. So hiding out, looking forward to the new life that they're gonna start together, sounds amazing for them. Or is it? After the baby is born, Salad Fingers seems to be acting as if someone is dying in episode 9, which was the same episode he gave birth in. I believe, after the birth, it was too much for Marjorie, and she passed away, forcing Salad Fingers to give up the baby to someone else, as he wouldn't be able to look after it on his own. Shortly after this, I believe that's when the war destroyed everything. Salad Fingers manages to survive, but only just. leaving him horribly disfigured from whatever ended the human race. Tries to go back to his family's house and finds out it's too late. They're all gone. Only locks of hair he finds every so often that he tapes to the wall, hoping it could be one of his family's. But he can't remember. Now he's stuck in this house reenacting his family's life and gained many weird fetishes resembling his past. The final episode was a past memory for him, probably one of his favourite memories, which was one of his birthdays, when he was young. He had to go to the doctors, which was scary, but when he got back, all his family members were there with him, and his friend. This ending shows that he played all the characters throughout this series, which is why there are 6 of him on the table. Mother, father, brother, sister, and best friend. And the 6th one is for him, Hubert Cumberdale. Yeah, that's one messed up timeline. It probably isn't true, but I definitely like to think it is, and hey, maybe you guys like it too. Let me know what you think. Also, if you have some theories of your own, then feel free to leave them in the comments below. Like I said, I love reading theories. Also, if you have any other videos you want me to try and make a theory on, then just feel free to let me know in the comments. Thanks for all your support, guys. See you next time. Hey guys, you made it to the outro screen. Thank you so much guys for all your support. I'd like to advertise another channel now, as I usually do at the end of these videos, and the next one this week is Oceans Gaming. I think that's the right name for it. He had a couple of names and it confused me a bit. But yeah, he's a gaming channel. Yeah, it is another gaming channel, which is really weird. I don't usually like promoting gaming channels, but this one is another one really well made, and he only has 400 subscribers. I seriously recommend you check him out, check out his funny montage, because that's the one that got me the most. He's a really funny guy, and deserves a lot of attention, because unlike a lot of gaming channels, he does put a lot of effort into everything. Thumbnails, the actual video itself. He has some seriously good quality put into his videos, so I think you guys would really like it, and I highly recommend you check him out. If you do, then feel free to let him know that I sent you. It's up to you. You don't have to if you don't want to, but at least check him out, and because he deserves a lot more attention than he's getting now. Thanks guys for all your support, and hope to see you in the next video. Stay safe, and don't pull a Picard.